Hello everybody, it's me Q and I'm saying hello to you. This is my first video. I'm going to be discussing a current topic, Scarlet and Violet Terra Raid builds. I'll be teaching you how to build a specific Pokemon and which 5 are the best. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Number 5, Meowscarlet. Scarlet and Violet's made it incredibly easy to make any Pokemon you want raid ready without breeding on multiple days of grinding, which means even your beloved starter could become a menace to Terra raids, really. To make a viable Meowscarlet, you're going to want to train it in HP and physical attack stats. A good held item would be the Shell Bell for survivability or the Metronome for offensive power. Either works, to be fair. Ability does not matter, but in the past I would have said Protean, but since Gen 9 the nerf has just made it terrible. The default starter ability is just better in raids, and luckily no Terra Shards required, because I recommend the default Grass Terra type. For the moveset, you're going to want the signature move Flower Trick for its incredible damage output and the stab from both the Terra type and the regular type. And then Night Slash for the coverage with the stab, and Play Rough for some extra coverage, however it's not completely necessary. And finally Grassy Terrain for just a little bit of extra healing and a damage boost. With this build, a single Flower Trick can go over 300 base power, and that's before factoring in anything like stats or stat effectiveness or types or anything. The only detriment to this is like 1/3 of all types resist grass, but it still has 150 base power even with resistances, so it's nothing to scoff at, really. Number 4, Scaladurge. A powerhouse of a croc, and I believe the first since Gen 7. That's 6 years. It's crazy to think only a fraction of Pokemon has been going on that long. If I'm wrong, please correct me if there's been one after that. But this build is like every other raid build. It needs health training, but the attack stat is the special attack stat for this one. The ability you're going to want is Unaware, and that's the hidden ability to tank and dish out more damage at the same time. And the Terra type is the default Fire Terra type. As for the held item, I recommend the Throat Spray if you're not familiar with what that does. It gives you a special attack boost every time you use a sound-based move, which we're going to get onto later. The main move you're going to want to be using is Torch Song, a sound-based special fire type attack that boosts your special attack every time it's used, so you can set up and attack at the same time. Within one turn you can get a decent amount of damage and double your special attack. This is so strong that you'll basically only need this move, no others, but you might as well for coverage, of course. So your best bet is Shadow Ball, Rest, and Sleep Talk. Shadow Ball is for stab coverage, standard really. And the Rest is the Sleep Talk combo to keep it alive even longer, and if you even ever get to low health, use Rest. The next turn, Sleep Talk, this will use either Shadow Ball or Torch Song, both good moves that should hit hard. Whilst you are waking up, you then want to move with the actual move you want, obviously, but it's very helpful that you can just regain your health like that. Number 3, Miraidon, the legendary Iron Serpent from Violet. For the stats, health like always needs to be trained, but the attack for this one is special attack. The ability Hadron Engine, I think it's called, or Hadron Collider, that might be the real thing. It'll set up a terrain that boosts electric type moves and powers up allied Violet Paradox Pokemon. So this is very good if you're going into a raid with like an Iron Hands or an Iron Valiant or something. For the Terra type, you'll want Electric. I think that's the default one though, so you should be fine. For the held items, you'll want to use the Metronome. It'll just boost your attacks whilst you're using them. But now, the moves is where this guy shines. Parabolic Charge and Electro Drift are your stab moves, right? They've got Electric. Parabolic Charge is weaker, but heals you when you use it. And Electro Drift is your big damage one, like that does tons. Metal Sound for lowering the raid mon's like just special defenses so that you can do more damage. This isn't that good unless you run in with other special defense teammates, but it'll be helpful. Dragon Pulse just for a little bit of extra stab coverage, but it isn't wholly necessary, because I doubt you'll be using it on dragon types anyway. Usually on like flying and water and stuff. This absolute beast of a Pokemon can survive a while with a combination of its insane stat spread, giving it tons of health and bulk, and Parabolic Charge's lifesteal feature. It's just insane, and very little Pokemon can rival that. But not only can it survive easily, it can deal some real damage at the same time. I built this one as my first. I still find myself using it regularly for like most 5 and 6 star raids. I understand that some people may not have access to this one, but if you join our Discord, we do giveaways over there, and people probably willing to trade you one over there pretty often. I get most of mine just from Wonder Trades and stuff. Probably most of them are hacked, but I don't mind giving them away. Number 2, the original 151 Soul Dragon type. With its monstrous stats spread being a pseudo-legendary, it can tank most hits that aren't Ice type, but that's because of its 4 times weakness, obviously. The stats to train on this one are health and physical attack. The ability Inner Focus works better than Multiscale for raids, I found. As for the Terra type, you'll probably want Terra Normal for a reason we'll be revealing later. The held items would be a Choice Band for attack power, and Assault Vest probably for defense. Yeah, that sounds good. Now for the moveset, your main move will be Extreme Speed. High base power, priority normal type move. This entire set is built around it. That's why we have normal Terra. Give it a stab boost of 50% as Dragon type isn't normal, obviously. No other moves are necessary, and you shouldn't use this for ghost types anyway. There's better ones like Meowscarada with Night Slash. Oh, yeah, maybe the one later on. You'll probably like that one for ghost types. But for coverage, you're going to want Dragon Claw, Aerial Ace, and Brick Break. The first 2 for stab coverage, and Brick Break is just like basic fighting type, because fighting type's a good type to have access to. With all this, your Dragonite can outspeed and tank almost any hit, with a move that hits with a 180 base power, not factoring in Dragonite's godly attack stat. It's like genuinely unholy. That thing's massive. Number 1. Annihilate, the monkey that got so angry it died. How lovely. The stats to train on this one are HP and physical attack. Inner Focus or Defiant are both decent abilities to use. Note that you should only use close combat if you run Defiant, as it'll double your attack stat but lower your defenses every time you use it. That's good, but kind of like a glass cannon-y thing. For Terra type, Ghost or Fighting is ideal, depending on what you want to do with your Annihilate. If you run Defiant, Terrifying's better. If you run, Inner Focus, Ghost is better. Held item Choice Band for definite. This is a bit non-negotiable. This is where like loads of damage is going to come from. No matter what you're doing with your Annihilate, this makes other moves not really necessary depending on like which one you're using, but it works out. Now for moves, this is the big part. Rage Fist is going to be your main move. If you run Ghost Terror, then Rage Fist. If you run Fighting Terror, then Close Combat, as mentioned earlier. Basically, every time you get hit, Rage Fist gets more powerful, starting at 50 base power, 75 for stab, 100 for stab with Ghost Terror, and gains 50 every time you get hit. However, I do not know the maximum this can go up to, so it might just cap at like 100. Doubt it. I think it goes up to like 300, but that's still like as strong as the Flower Trick Meowscarada we mentioned earlier. Your full moveset should be Rage Fist, Close Combat, Ice Punch for decent coverage, Drain Punch for survivability. However, it's not really necessary. It only really works if you don't run Choice Band. Now with all this, you'll have a bulky, hard-hitting monstrosity capable of bringing basically any Terra Ray boss to its knees. That is just insane, because Fighting type is so good. Ghost isn't as good offensively, although Psychic types are kind of hard to deal with, so Ghost is pretty decent for that. But you won't really be using this one for Psychic types, because Fighting type also. And that concludes this video, my first one. Feedback is appreciated. I'll make a pinned comment with my Discord in it. There'll be a helpful group of nice people over there. And we do giveaways, as mentioned before, that in the Miraidon bit. That's probably how you're going to want to get one if you're a Scarlet player. But with all that said, I'm Q. Now I'm saying goodbye to you.